Why didn't she just leave? That's the question on everyone's mind after shocking details emerged from Cassie Ventura's lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. But what if leaving isn't as simple as walking away? What if the same person hurting you is also the person your brain feels addicted to? Today, we're unpacking the disturbing psychology behind why so many victims stay, and the invisible chains that can trap them for years. Psychologists call it trauma bonding. And once you understand how it works, everything about this case starts to make chilling sense. Right now, Sean Diddy Combs is facing serious allegations, including sex trafficking, assault, and racketeering. Cassie Ventura, his former partner of over a decade, has testified about years of control, manipulation, and alleged violence. But one moment in her testimony has everyone confused. Even after the alleged abuse, she texted him, "I love you." Even after a violent incident caught on surveillance video, she stayed. Even after breaking up in 2018, they remained in contact through 2020. It leaves people asking, if things were so terrible, why stay? Why not cut ties completely? The answer lies in something far more complex than most people realize. Because next, we're diving into what trauma bonding really is and how it hijacks the brain. Trauma bonding is when a person forms a deep emotional attachment to someone who's actively hurting them. It's like being stuck on a roller coaster, soaring highs followed by crushing lows. Over time, the chaos doesn't push you away, it pulls you in deeper. Think of it like this. Imagine eating a dessert so delicious, it brings tears to your eyes. But every time, a few minutes later, it makes you violently ill. Eventually, you start craving the taste, even though you know it will hurt. Your brain doesn't see danger, it sees reward. And it starts confusing pain with love. But how does that bond actually form? Let's look at the specific cycle of abuse and how it secretly strengthens the attachment. According to experts, and Cassie's own words, the relationship followed a repeating pattern. Tension building, constant criticism, walking on eggshells, explosion, alleged physical violence, like the hotel video from 2016, reconciliation, gifts, apologies, "I love you," promises it won't happen again. It's not random. Each phase feeds the trauma bond. Cassie described this herself. After the abuse, Diddy would shower me with gifts and affection. He would tell me how much he loved me. It's not just manipulation, it's psychological conditioning. And once you see the signs, they're everywhere in this case. Here's what we saw in Cassie's testimony. Justifying abuse, continuing to express love despite alleged violence. Emotional whiplash, from private jets to public humiliation. Control and isolation. Allegations that Diddy dictated her schedule and communication. Fear and dependence. Cassie said she feared what might happen if she left. Punishment and reward. Abuse followed by gifts and promises. But why would the brain create attachment in response to danger? The science behind trauma bonding is even more disturbing than the behavior. Let's break it down. When a person experiences pain and comfort from the same source, the brain gets confused. It starts forming attachments, not despite the abuse, but because of it. Here's how. Intermittent reinforcement. The rewards are unpredictable, like a slot machine. That randomness makes the brain chase approval even harder. Biochemical responses. During abuse, the brain releases stress hormones like cortisol. But during reconciliation, it floods with dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals released in romantic love. Survival instinct. In dangerous situations, the brain often prioritizes connection over escape, even if that connection is to the source of the danger. Early childhood wiring. If someone grew up around chaos or conditional love, their brain may interpret this emotional roller coaster as normal. In other words, trauma bonding isn't a weakness. It's the brain trying to survive. And the roots of these patterns can start years, even decades, before the relationship begins. While we don't know every detail of Cassie and Diddy's upbringings, we do know this. Diddy lost his father at age 3 to a violent murder. He was raised in a tough environment where vulnerability could be dangerous. Over time, he built a hard, controlling exterior and a ruthless drive to succeed. Cassie was just 19 when she entered a relationship with a global celebrity 16 years older. There was a power imbalance from the start, not just emotionally, but financially, socially, and professionally. When those early dynamics go unexamined, they often shape how love is given and received. Which brings us to the most heartbreaking part of all: why people stay. Beyond the trauma bond itself, survivors often face multiple barriers to leaving. Fear. Cassie testified that she feared retaliation, especially through private recordings. Financial dependence. Her music, modeling, and career were closely tied to the relationship. Shame. Many victims worry about what others will think, or if anyone will believe them. Hope. Abusers often promise to change. And for someone still in love, that hope can feel like a lifeline. Low self-worth. Repeated abuse can convince someone they deserve it. Isolation. When your abuser controls your world, there may be nowhere else to go. And even when someone finally leaves, the trauma bond doesn't just disappear. It has to be broken, like an addiction. Healing starts with awareness, but that's only the beginning. Breaking a trauma bond often requires recognition, understanding the cycle, and naming it for what it is. Support, therapy, rehab, or a community that believes you. Distance, physical and emotional separation from the abuser. Time, letting the brain reset, like detoxing from a drug. Cassie testified that it took her going to trauma therapy and rehab to even begin to understand what had happened to her. That's not unusual. For many survivors, clarity only comes after they've escaped the fog. We may never know the full truth of what happened between Cassie and Diddy. That's for the courts to decide. But their story reveals something we can't ignore. That trauma bonding is real, that it's powerful, and that it's not about weakness. It's about survival. So the next time you hear someone ask, "Why didn't they just leave?" ask a better question. What invisible chains were holding them there? And maybe, what patterns in our own lives have we normalized that deserve a second look? Because recognizing a trauma bond doesn't just set someone free, it can save their life.